What would you do if every time you confronted your partner about cheating, you found yourself the one saying sorry? Imagine the confusion, the heartbreak, and the power of manipulation it would take to turn the tables so completely. Priscilla Presley lived this reality with Elvis, caught in a web of charm and control so intricate it defied belief. But why did this keep happening? The answer isn't just surprising, it's downright shocking. Stay tuned as we uncover the untold truth behind this emotional roller coaster. From the moment Priscilla Presley stepped into Elvis's world, her life transformed into a whirlwind of glamour, excitement, and uncertainty. While she was captivated by the king of rock and roll's charm and larger-than-life persona, shadows of doubt crept into their relationship almost immediately. Elvis had a magnetic pull that drew people in effortlessly, but with that came a reputation for romantic entanglements that seemed impossible to ignore. Priscilla couldn't help but wonder if the rumors swirling around his alleged flings with stunning co-stars were more than just tabloid gossip. Despite his reassurances, the whispers planted seeds of fear that she struggled to silence. The unease grew into a gnawing suspicion as more signs surfaced over time. Elvis's larger-than-life persona meant his every move attracted attention, but it also meant his private moments weren't always so private. Priscilla began noticing little things, stories that didn't add up, moments that felt off, and subtle cues that hinted at something more. The turning point came during a visit to their Palm Springs home, where she stumbled upon letters from multiple women. These weren't just casual notes, they were undeniable signs of a connection to women who had clearly been to the house. Each letter felt like a crack in the image of the man she thought she knew. Outraged and confused, Priscilla acted on impulse, calling Elvis's trusted road manager Joe Esposito to demand answers. Her emotions were raw as she insisted on speaking directly to Elvis, hoping for clarity but bracing for the worst. When she finally got him on the phone, his calm, calculated response only added to the confusion. He brushed off her concerns with a mix of charm and indignation, leaving her questioning not just his fidelity, but also her own judgment. The discovery of those letters set the stage for a pattern of interactions that would keep Priscilla locked in a cycle of doubt, apology, and heartbreak, a story far more complex than it seemed on the surface. During a visit to their Palm Springs retreat, Priscilla stumbled upon something that froze her in place: letters from several women. These weren't just harmless notes or fan mail, they were deeply personal, unmistakable signs that these women had been there, in her home, crossing boundaries she thought were sacred. Her heart raced as the reality set in. This wasn't just suspicion anymore, this was evidence. With anger and hurt fueling her every word, she picked up the phone and called Elvis's road manager, Joe Esposito, demanding to speak to Elvis immediately. When Joe explained that Elvis was asleep, Priscilla refused to be dismissed. "Wake him up," she demanded. The fire in her voice made it clear she wouldn't let this go. When Elvis finally returned her call, it was as if he'd rehearsed every word. He dismissed her discovery with ease, claiming the letters were meaningless, written by delusional fans who had never set foot in the house. His voice carried the perfect mix of hurt and indignation, flipping the blame back onto her for even suggesting such a thing. "It's their word against mine," he said, feigning innocence so convincingly that it made her question the truth she had seen with her own eyes. The charm and charisma that had won over millions now worked against her, leaving her unsure whether to stand her ground or believe the man she loved. And then, as if guided by some unseen force, Priscilla found herself apologizing. Despite the damning evidence, despite her gut screaming otherwise, she uttered words of regret for accusing him, for putting him on the spot. It was a pattern she couldn't seem to escape, every confrontation ending in her questioning her instincts and making amends. This wasn't just manipulation, it was a carefully crafted tactic, a psychological game Elvis seemed to play with ease. In those moments, Priscilla wasn't just battling her suspicions, She was battling the immense pull of Elvis's dominance, a force so strong it left her questioning her own reality. What would drive someone to such lengths to maintain control? The answer is as shocking as it is heartbreaking. Elvis Presley had a way of maintaining control that went beyond mere words. It was in his actions, his timing, and his ability to turn any situation to his advantage. When Priscilla dared to question his behavior or confront him about suspicious rumors, Elvis didn't just dismiss her concerns, he made her pay a price. One infamous example was his response to a news story about his alleged engagement to Anne Margaret, a co-star with whom he was having a well-known affair. Instead of offering reassurance or explanations, Elvis sent Priscilla back to Memphis, far from his glamorous world. The message was clear. Challenging him meant losing access to him, a punishment that left Priscilla isolated and uncertain. In another chilling instance, when Priscilla mentioned meeting another of his co-stars, Elvis flew into a rage. He threatened to pack her belongings and send her back to her parents, physically tossing her clothes into a suitcase to drive the point home. Yet just as she was about to leave in tears, he stopped her, embracing her with the same intensity he had shown moments earlier in anger. For Priscilla, the emotional whiplash was overwhelming. In those moments, all it took was a tender word or a warm gesture from Elvis, and her doubts melted away. What she didn't realize at the time was that this cycle of punishment and forgiveness wasn't accidental. It was a deliberate method of control, one that preyed on her love for him and her desire to keep their relationship intact, no matter the cost. Elvis Presley often spoke with great conviction about the importance of loyalty, holding it up as a non-negotiable value for anyone in his inner circle. He made it clear that fidelity, especially from the women in his life, was paramount. To Priscilla, he repeatedly emphasized that his partner had to be unwaveringly faithful, a standard he seemed to believe justified his strict rules and moralizing lectures. Yet, this insistence on loyalty stood in sharp contrast to his own behavior. While he demanded complete devotion from Priscilla and his other girlfriends, rumors of his infidelity were constant, and his relationships with co-stars and admirers were anything but discreet. The contradiction was glaring, but Elvis carried himself with such confidence that it seemed impossible to call him out without facing consequences. The deeper contradiction, however, wasn't just in his actions. It was in the control he sought to maintain over those closest to him. Elvis, a man adored by millions and possessing a level of fame most could only dream of, seemed to go to extraordinary lengths to keep Priscilla and others under his influence. But why? Why would someone with such power and charisma feel the need to manipulate and dominate the people who loved him? It's a question that raises more than just curiosity. It strikes at the heart of who Elvis really was behind the glamour. The answer isn't just surprising. It's a revelation that turns everything we think we know about their relationship upside down. Elvis Presley's charm was undeniable, but beneath the glittering facade of fame lay a calculated strategy to maintain control over the people in his life. For Priscilla, this wasn't immediately apparent. At first, his actions felt like expressions of passion, his jealousy a sign of how deeply he cared. But as time went on, it became clear that his behavior was about more than love. It was about dominance. Whether through grand gestures of forgiveness or moments of stern punishment, Elvis kept her emotionally tethered, ensuring she would never feel secure enough to leave. Every argument, every accusation, every confrontation seemed to end with Priscilla questioning herself rather than him, trapped in a cycle that left her doubting her own reality. Over the years, though, something began to shift. The constant push and pull, the emotional highs and lows, started to reveal a pattern that Priscilla could no longer ignore. It wasn't just about Elvis protecting their relationship. It was about ensuring that she remained dependent on him. Slowly but surely, she began to see through the charm and recognize the subtle ways he had shaped her world to revolve entirely around him. This realization didn't come all at once. It was the culmination of years of reflection, heartbreak, and self-discovery. And when it finally hit her, it sparked a determination to reclaim her identity and her life. Now, as we look back at their complex and tumultuous relationship, it's hard not to wonder, how did Priscilla find the strength to step out of the shadow of such a towering figure? And more importantly, what does their story reveal about the dynamics of love, power, and control? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Was Elvis's behavior driven by insecurity, or was it something more? The answers may lie in the story we've only just begun to unravel. If you found this story as intriguing as we did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update on our latest videos. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and be sure to share it with fellow fans who'd love to dive deeper into the untold stories of Elvis Presley. And most importantly, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Priscilla and Elvis's relationship? Drop your opinions and theories in the comments below. We can't wait to read them.